Story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Hello and welcome to CoreTV News. I am Gift Ogete. After a long day and night at the Eagle Square, the new APC chairman, John Odigye Oyego, was finally declared elected at about 10 a.m. on Saturday. Speaking afterwards, Odigye Oyego assured party members of his readiness to provide visionary leadership for the party ahead of the 2015 general elections.
I am humbled by the great honor you have conferred on me and the sacred trust that you have reposed on me. And with extreme humility, I accept this responsibility. We have undertaken to lead this party into the next phase of its evolution and onwards thereafter to the fulfillment of its destined mission as the liberator of the Nigerian people. This is a heavy responsibility, but I assure you, it is a responsibility we are not taking lightly. Nigerians have been frustrated by the fact that there was no alternative national party comparable in strength to rescue them from the clutches of the PDP. Today, I want to say to Nigerians, your wait is over. Your prayers have been answered. Help is on the way. The APC has arrived. In 2015, the All Progressives Congress will provide Nigerians with visionary, dedicated, and people-oriented leadership that will liberate the nation from the clutches of the PDP's rule of poverty and oppression.
Meanwhile, hundreds of thousands of members of the All Progressives Congress spent the night at the Eagle Square to see about 6,000 delegates elect new party officials. Not even the downpour could dampen the mood of party faithfuls at APC's inaugural national convention. Pius Samuel reports.
Roads in Abuja seemed to lead to the city center on Friday night, where the long-awaited APC National Convention was taking place. The atmosphere outside the Eagle Square could best be likened to a carnival. It was also not different inside the arena. But when it was time for speeches, the party leaders were businesslike.
2011, we have remained resolved to make sure that this country that we have helped to build, nobody should completely destroy it. Enough destruction has been done. Stand firm, vote for APC, let's get this country moving again.
You become part of a common sense revolution. And that common sense revolution is to fight insecurity, mismanagement, unemployment, hopelessness, and abduction of our children. Failure of the government. A president needs full stop on the desk of the president. For our children, 250 and more of them to still be in captivity is a shame to all of us, but the biggest failure of ineptitude, incompetency, and a failure of good government.
It was also a time for outgoing chairman Bisi Akonde to say goodbye. He used the opportunity to lash at the ruling PDP and give an insight into what to expect from an APC government at the center.
Nigeria is today a subject of some form of global assistance after it was apparently overwhelmed by security challenges. As I speak, personnel and equipment from a global coalition that includes the United States, the United Kingdom, Israel, and the United Nations are in our country, assisting us to rescue the over 200 school girls.
The Eagle Square was fully occupied, and that was because there was little or no restriction. So, these party members had to sit on the ground. In the run-up to the convention, the chairmanship position was a 3-horse race, but Tom Ikimi was eased out. He reacted by shunning the convention, while Temipre Silva publicly declared support for John Oyegun. There was also consensus in the choice of National Secretary and Publicity Secretary, but in spite of this, elections still had to go on for several other positions. And under the watchful eyes of INEC, officials and security operatives, voting commenced at about 12:54 a.m. Some delegates who spoke to CoreTV News were optimistic that the convention is coming at the right time.
To support APC, a new party, as a result of a merger of 3 parties, 3 major parties in Nigeria, which has never happened in the history of politics in the entire world.
In the history of this nation, 5 governors of a ruling party defected into a new party. For the first time in the history of this party, this country, over 37 members of the House of Representatives, close to 20 senators, defected, to a new party. My brother, this is an idea whose time has come.
APC faithfuls are also hopeful that after scaling through its first major test, the party is on track to giving the ruling party its biggest electoral challenge since 1999. As 2015 general elections approaches, Nigerians require good leadership no matter the party affiliations of the candidates.
As over 8,000 delegates cast their vote at the APC National Convention here in Abuja, political watchers are waiting to see if the party will bring the desired change during the 2015 general elections. Pius Samuel, CoreTV News, Abuja.
INEC resident electoral commissioner in Ekiti, Halilu Pai, and commander of the army detachment drafted for the June 21st governorship election, Aliu Momo, have restated their commitment to the conduct of the H-free poll in the state. Our Ekiti state correspondent Rashid now completes the story.
As reactions continue to trail the discovery of a truckload of voting materials intercepted by the Nigerian army in Ado-Ekiti on Thursday, the INEC resident electoral commissioner in the state has allayed all fears, indicating that the material are waste products of the commission. Already, there are fears on the part of the people that the discovery is a deliberate plan hatched by yet unknown politicians to manipulate the forthcoming election. Again, the resident electoral commissioner maintains INEC and security agencies are ready for the election.
Of course, everybody will see that we are prepared. In terms of the materials, we have already sent all the non-sensitive materials to the 16 local government areas. We have already trained our SPOs, and as we speak, we are training the POs and the APOs. So we are now expecting the sensitive materials.
Leader of the army detachment drafts to the state for the election, Aliu Momo, admonished Ekiti people to be at peace and assured them that the Nigerian army is only on ground for that purpose and not to scare them.
Not here to harass, to embarrass anybody. We are here to keep the peace, to make sure Ekiti people, life and property is secure throughout the period of the election. Those who are harboring hoodlums, and I bet you will get them out, and I've given the order to my men that whoever is caught with weapons or any offensive weapons against the state will be brought down. That's a straight message to everybody, irrespective of his party. We are neutral.
He, however, did not fail to read riot acts to those planning to truncate the peaceful conduct of the election.
But I want to assure you that my men are everywhere to see that the incoming election is free and fair. We are not going to take anything for granted. Actually, we have almost 10 days to go, but we are already on the ground. And that's to send a strong warning to those troubleshooters that we are ready to match them west to west and arm to arm. But then, gentlemen, please convey to them.
Though with so much trepidation on the part of many, the people believe that a heavy presence of military personnel and other security agencies on the streets of Ekiti may very well guarantee the desired peace before, during, and after the re-election. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ado Ekiti.
The police authorities have assured Nigerians, especially indigenes of Ekiti State, of the readiness of security operatives to ensure a hitch-free governorship election in the state. Inspector General of Police Mohammed Abubakar gave this assurance during a brief meeting with the police management team. He warned all troublemakers and anti-social elements to stay away from Ekiti throughout the period of the election, as the police will not hesitate to arrest and prosecute any person, no matter how highly placed in society. Police spokesman Frank Amba disclosed that the IG has ordered Deputy Inspector General of Police in charge of operations, Michael Zuokumo, to relocate to Ekiti State to ensure adequate police presence and coordination of all security operations for the June 21st election. Comments by former President Olusegun Obasanjo that the federal government is not supporting his negotiation with Boko Haram for the freedom of the abducted girls has been generating controversy. A lawyer, Tunde Kolawole, and a lecturer at the Yaba College of Technology in Lagos, Olufemi Akinshola, admonished the federal government to be supportive of all moves to bring back the girls.
Whether the outcome of his negotiation is going to be binding or useful is a different. He could go ahead if the federal parliament don't give their consent to do the negotiation. What use will the outcome of the negotiation be if he doesn't have a binding effect, if he doesn't have the consent of the federal? Because by and large, when you are negotiating with people, is a trade by barter thing. Absolutely, like since he has put it on the pages of the newspaper, if I were Mr. President, Jonathan, I will give him my consent. I will give him the authority to go ahead and negotiate with the Boko Haram. Also on the pages of the newspaper, like he has said, since he's put it on the rooftop now. So I will also do the same thing, because at the end of the day, if anything untoward happens to those girls, and Obasanjo is already sounding that warning that most of the girls are never likely to return back to us, then the president will be blamed that I was somebody who gave us an opportunity to really get these girls back, and Mr. President turned a blind eye or a deaf ear and a non-smelling nose to the request to negotiate with the Boko Haram.
Since he has offered himself on a platter of gold free of charge to the government to do the negotiation, it will just be a wise thing for the government to grant him that request. Let him negotiate on behalf of the government with the Boko Haram, and if the agreement or the terms of the agreement is good to the government, they implement it.
For Akinshola, the refusal of Nigeria's extradition request by Sudan to have the alleged mastermind of the Nyanya bombing, Aminu Sadiq Oguche,
irrespective of international treaty and agreement with French government, that all the French territory during the colonial era will support Nigerian government in the battle against insurgency. So that this government now said they are not going to be party to it. It may be a reflection of the attitude of Nigerian government to the president of Sudan when he ran to Nigeria for assistance when he wanted to be tried by the ICC.
Nigerian women judges have called for justice for all in a sensitization forum to educate security operatives, market women, students and parents on the right actions to take in cases of sexual abuse. Amotayo Alo was at the conference put together by the judges and brought back this report.
Let them sit down with the CJ I know how to handle the market women. So that's our reaction now, because we are being messed up by all these men. And the little ones we send out for market, they are being messed up. So
in order to put an end to rising cases of sexual abuse and maltreatment of victims, women judges urge security operatives to investigate abuse cases professionally without prejudice before going to court. These women judges emphasize the importance of the move for justice for all in the country.
We want to break the culture of silence. We want police officers to welcome victims with empathy and not say, what were you wearing? Where did you go? What were you doing at 10 p.m. at night that you said you were raped? The important thing is that she was raped by somebody who is not supposed to rape her.
We need the police to be proactive. We need the courts to be sensitive. Sometimes you have a witness. In the course of testifying, the witness breaks down and starts crying. You can stand down the matter.
Our focus is on violence against women, particularly sexual violence against women. And everywhere, all over the world where our members are found, they are doing similar things.
Resource persons at the conference advise on ways to prevent rape and steps that victims must take.
One of the things is not to keep silent, no matter how shameful it might be, because there are mitigating circumstances. It affects their mental health, physical health, there might be diseases, there is the danger of pregnancy.
If all of us decide to arise and decide that we are going to be advocates against this, we are going to speak up. We are not going to tolerate a culture of silence. We are not going to tolerate people making jokes about what is potentially a very explosive and dangerous situation. Then we are the ones who can make the change in society.
What is important is the evidence that is available, and the duty of the police is to put together that evidence. When I come to the police and I say that someone has stolen from me, that's all I need to do. They then go on to investigate.
A representative of the Nigerian police force put up a defense to counter accusation from one of the resource persons.
Gone are the days where you find issues of a police officer who comes to discourage the victim. So we don't do that right now. And we have one, we are sure you're one of the cops. And we are also doing something very, very close to relate to the issue.
However, the Lagos State Deputy Governor, represented by Head Ministry of Women Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Riskat Akinyode, promised to put in more measures to reduce the rising trend of women and child abuse.
We now need everybody's help to ensure that we prosecute offenders and we sensitize our people what to do, how to escape, or to avoid all these matters.
The Association of Female Justice in Nigeria has brought to the awareness people of Nigeria that all women should be treated fairly, especially as it relates to rape cases and sexual violence of women. Their call to all Nigerians is justice for all, and it's the belief that this call is heeded by all Nigerians. Omotayo Alo, CoreTV News, Lagos.
Lagos Governor Babatunde Fashola says the ability of states in the Federation to enforce their laws is critical to taming the rising trend of domestic violence, especially against women and children. Fashola asserted this while receiving executives of the National Association of Women Judges who paid him a courtesy call. The governor also identifies state police as essential to enforcing existing laws against women.
If we really mean to protect women and to protect children, one of the biggest and first steps that we must take is to create an enforcement capacity, whatever you like and call it, and give them jurisdiction. So they don't need guns, they don't need weapons to gather evidence, to listen to children, to take evidence, to apprehend offenders, to take descriptions of what happened, take samples of what may potentially become evidence in court, and so on and so forth. Otherwise, the laws do not take us as far as we want to go, and we must give the law some spine.
Eminent constitutional lawyer Itse Sage has condemned the religious toga being bandied around the choice of who steps into the shoes of Babatunde Fashola as the next governor of Lagos. Sage, who made this known against the background of calls in some quarters that religion is a primus factor, says performance is and should be the yardstick for measuring success.
A Muslim governor does not build Muslim roads for Muslims to use alone. We all use the roads, we all use the hospitals, we all use the schools. Let us go for the best person regardless of his religion, and let this primitive and backward pride be totally ignored. Let us go for the best regardless of the religion.
You're watching CoreTV News on the hour. We'll take a short break. Stay with us.
CoreTV News now provide a platform for live coverage of political rallies and electioneering campaign from anywhere in Nigeria. Political news stories, political editorial reviews, political discussions, personality profile, People's Parliament from the National, State and Local Government Assembly. Contact us now on 0803-471-8550 or 0803-724-9733. 01453-3407.
Our 24-hour news station. Come June 21, it will be decision day for the people of Ekiti. 18 candidates are gunning for one seat.
I am the next governor of Ekiti.
But the people will have the final say.
I know that tolerance has a very big place.
Join extensive coverage of the election and get up to the many details as development unfolds.
I'm the voice of Ekiti people.
With expert analysis from the best political team on television.
And that's honesty of INEC.
Join us all day June 21 to find out who emerges the next governor of Ekiti State.
We have agreed to move this state forward.
Keep a date with us on CoreTV News. You can also watch us live on our website on www.coretvnews.com, our 24-hour news station.
Welcome back. You're watching CoreTV News on the hour. For more information on our news and other programs, visit our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/CoreTVNews. You can also follow us on Twitter at CoreTVNewsNG. Also on YouTube at www.youtube.com/CoreTV-News. The International Criminal Court says it will try Ivory Coast ex-president Laurent Gbagbo for crimes against humanity allegedly committed during a bloody 2010-2011 election standoff. Gbagbo, 69, the first former head of state brought before the ICC, is accused of masterminding a campaign of violence in the world's largest cocoa-producing country during post-presidential election violence. More than 3,000 people were killed. The charges include for murder, rape and persecution. One of 3 judges dissented, however, saying there was not a realistic chance of a conviction. Gbagbo maintains that he was convicted in favor of his rival, current President Alassane Ouattara, thanks to a plot led by former colonial master France. French and UN forces backed an assault on Gbagbo's villa in Abidjan, after which Ouattara's forces detained him and handed him over to the ICC. The charges are for allegedly fomenting the wave of violence as he refused to hand over to election winner Ouattara after 10 years in power. He was detained, or he has detained the charges again, or he has denied the charges against him. And that's CoreTV News at this hour. Thank you for watching. Join us again. I am Gift Ogete. Enjoy the rest of our programs. Good evening.